First at 12:30, students back in class at Palmetto Elementary just one day after a deadly shooting on campus. We have new details about the victim and reaction from parents.
So what are you going to do now?
I'll try to clear my name. I didn't do anything.
Plus, we are hearing from the man detained by police and later released as authorities continue their search for Nancy Guthrie in Arizona, how he was taken into custody. And before first steps and first words, there's story time, the local effort to put books into the hands of Atlanta's youngest families. Hello, and thanks for joining us here on 11Alive Plus at 12:30. I'm Danielle Nottingham. We begin with an update. We now know the identity of the victim in the deadly shooting outside Palmetto Elementary School. Within the last hour, the medical examiner's office told us the woman has been identified as 34-year-old Ebony Anderson. Today, students at Palmetto Elementary School returned to class after the shooting sparked panic and a hard lockdown yesterday. 11Alive's Stefanage Haynock has more from Palmetto Elementary.
Yeah, so classes resumed here at Palmetto Elementary School this morning. We were here and we also saw multiple police officers inside the parking lot behind me and also monitoring the area as students arrived for class. Fulton County Schools confirming with us that the woman that was shot and killed outside the school on Tuesday was not a staff member and that she also did not have a child that attends this elementary school, which brings up a lot of questions right now as to why she was here on campus. One parent tells me this morning that her daughter was nervous coming back to school and that she had knots in her stomach still after what happened yesterday. We were here when kids returned to school. In a letter to parents, the school principal says a woman was shot and killed in what seems to be a domestic dispute. On Tuesday, students and staff were evacuated to Bear Creek Middle School, where parents waited to be reunited with their children.
I didn't know what was going on. When they told us it was a shooting, they just said it was a shooting. They didn't say it was in the parking lot. They didn't say nothing. We didn't know if they was in there. We didn't know nothing. I was scared. I don't know.
I don't know what was going on, but obviously that's not my type of carrying on. I just want these kids to be safe, in the environment or whatnot, and they have to do better. That's how I feel.
Law enforcement took 39-year-old Christopher Aites into custody, who was arrested in Houston County after a brief vehicle pursuit. And the connection between the victim and Christopher Aites still not clear right now. We know law enforcement agencies are now working together to transfer custody so that Aites comes back to Fulton County to face criminal charges. I'm Stefanage Haynock, 11Alive News.
Today, we're learning more about what happens next in the legal fight over the FBI raid at Fulton County's elections hub in Union City. A day after a judge unsealed the search warrant affidavit, the judge is now ordering Fulton County to respond to the unsealed affidavit. Ariana Maniz has more on what the county plans to do next.
Now that search warrant affidavit is public, the judge is telling the county to answer directly. Do they still want to keep fighting for those records to be returned? Now, after the raid, county officials filed a motion requesting the return of the documents that were taken during that raid. The federal judge says that when Fulton County first asked for the records back, the county was arguing based on what it thought the affidavit would say, not what it actually said. Now that this affidavit is unsealed, the judge is giving the county a chance to review it and file an updated motion that addresses what's actually in the document. Now that search warrant affidavit says that the investigation focuses on two federal election laws. One involves preserving and retaining election records. The other involves depriving voters of a fair election. The document lists several claims, including that some ballot images from the 2020 election were not preserved, that some ballots may have been scanned more than once, and that there were discrepancies during the hand count audit. Now, these are some of the claims that the Fulton County Commission Chairman Rob Pitt says has already been disproven.
These accusations have already been debunked, but here we go again on a merry-go-round. Fulton County will fight this with every resource that's at our disposal.
Now, in that court filing, Fulton County says it plans to file an amended motion by February 17th, asking a judge to order the return of those seized election records, nearly 700 boxes of documents. Meanwhile, the FBI says the investigation is ongoing, and so far the Justice Department has not announced any charges. Reporting live from the newsroom, I'm Ariana Maniz. Back to you.
And new today, 2 people are in custody after leading deputies on a high-speed chase in a stolen car, and it was all caught on tape. Take a look at your screen. The Bibb County Sheriff's Office shared this video. Authorities say a sergeant tried to stop the car on Emory Highway, but the driver took off, speeding more than 100 miles per hour before losing control and crashing on New Clinton Road. Both the driver and passenger were arrested and taken to the Bibb County Sheriff's Office, where they're facing multiple charges. Happening in just about 30 minutes, former DeKalb County police officer Russell Mathis is set for a plea hearing. He's charged with involuntary manslaughter and reckless conduct in the 2022 shooting death of Mirando Salmon after entering his home without a warrant and firing, claiming he thought a phone was a knife. And new at 12:30, a jury is now seated in the trial of Colin Gray. He is the father of accused Appalachia High School shooter Colt Gray. Colin is accused of giving his son the gun that police say was used in the deadly school shooting. The trial will begin Monday, and our team will be following it gavel to gavel on 11Alive Plus. And as the world gathers in Milan for the Winter Olympic Games, the city is also showcasing a different kind of innovation, living, breathing high-rises known as vertical forests. 11Alive's Cheryl Preheim gives us a tour.
Hi from a rooftop in Milan. You know, this is a major metropolitan city, just like at home in Atlanta, or think about New York City. So a lot of buildings, not a lot of green, except on patios like this. You'll see all these great outdoor areas where people can sip a cappuccino, enjoy the view, and have a little green. But we found one place in the city where the whole building is covered in plants. Milan is full of amazing architecture and unique places, like 2 apartment buildings covered from top to bottom in plants.
It's a botanic garden.
Called the Vertical Forest and designed by Italian architect Stefano Borelli.
I'm Stefano Borelli.
He doesn't just design building, he's trying to reimagine how cities are built by incorporating more trees and nature into the construction. These 2 buildings in Milan have 20,000 plants and trees growing on them.
This is rosmarino, and this is salvia. So
850 trees, 5,000 shrubs mixed with thousands of other types of vegetation, all picked because they grow well in the varying heat and moisture. It cools apartments in the summer, reduces 30 tons of CO2 each year, while producing 19 tons of oxygen a year.
they shade the facade, and that's reduce the consumption of energy.
The plants also help reduce noise from city streets below, with more and more buildings like these popping up in cities all over the world.
This is a kind of ecosystem where we are hosting 130 families of humans, more than 20 species of birds that are nesting here, and 20,000 plants.
So now I'm thinking about what a vertical forest would look like in Midtown, maybe a concept we can take home from Milan to the ATL. Reporting at the Winter Games in Italy, Cheryl Preheim, 11Alive News.
Rain is on its way out and some drier and milder air is on its way in. I'm tracking the cool down and when rain chances return to the forecast, coming up in my full forecast next. Following a soggy morning, rain will steadily be moving out during the day today. We've got a cold front that's currently working its way across the southeast. Behind this cold front will clear out pretty quickly. So some isolated showers will still linger throughout the next few hours, and then some milder and drier air moves in later today and into tonight. Now, there will be a little drop in temperatures associated with this cold front. Colder air is going to be sinking southward, but the true cold air stays well up towards our northeast. So you'll notice a little drop in temperatures, especially when it comes to those overnight lows, but it's not going to be necessarily winter cold like what we were experiencing just a week or so ago. Our high temperatures yesterday got up into the 60s and 70s. We're still in the 60s this afternoon with a high right around 65 degrees in Atlanta. Behind that cold front, though, our afternoon high temperatures fall down into the low 60s for the rest of the week as well as into the weekend. This is still above average for this time of year. Average high temperature in Atlanta, 57 degrees. So we're still running a few degrees above where we typically are for early to mid-February. Throughout the next few days, we'll still get to enjoy some of those warmer afternoons, and the rainfall also stays out of the forecast throughout the end of the week. A few isolated showers still possible as this cold front moves through. So a little rain here and there could linger even into the evening commute today. But once that cold front sinks down to our south, the cloud cover, the rainfall, it sinks southward as well. So by the time the sun sets tonight, any of those lingering isolated showers are well to the south of us, and we're drying out throughout the afternoon as well as the evening. Throughout the day today, temperatures will still warm up nicely, even with the added cloud cover. We'll even manage to mix in a little bit of sunshine as we get closer to the sunset. Temperatures will get up into those low to mid 60s and then cool down pretty quickly as we clear out through the overnight hours. So by tomorrow morning, temperatures will fall down into the mid to upper 30s. Now, most spots are going to stay above freezing. There are, of course, a couple exceptions. Up into Blairsville, getting down to 27, 32 in Clayton, 34 in Canton by tomorrow morning, and then 34 in Carrollton. That does mean for kiddos at the bus stop tomorrow morning, you will likely need a coat or a jacket if maybe you swapped it out for a sweatshirt this morning and you did without any of the heavier layers. Tomorrow morning, it is going to be chillier. So temperatures are falling down into those 30s. We'll be right around that 38-degree mark in the Atlanta metro as the sun rises. And we're in for a nice warm up tomorrow afternoon as well. Forecast high temperatures by tomorrow are back up into those low 60s with some 50s up into far north Georgia. High tomorrow afternoon of 59 degrees in Canton, 63 in Atlanta, 57 in Blairsville, 64 out towards Athens. So again, not quite as warm as where we were just yesterday, but still unusually warm for this time of year. Those temperatures will stay mild into the weekend. We will remain dry at least for Thursday and Friday. We'll keep those rain chances out of the forecast, but by this weekend, rain chances will return up to only 30% by Saturday, and then by Sunday up to 70% as the storm system works in from the west. This is going to push in some even milder air for the start of the weekend as that warm front comes through, and then all that Gulf moisture will spread across the southeast as our cold front works through the region by Sunday morning. So rain chances will be on the rise throughout the day on Saturday, and then more widespread rain is expected into Sunday. That does mean if you have weekend plans that do involve getting outside, I would say Saturday is probably the preferable day, especially in the morning. Should be able to stay dry. By the afternoon, a few of those isolated showers develop, and then by Sunday, we're talking more widespread rainfall and also the potential for a few isolated embedded thunderstorms as these come through. As far as rain chances go, it looks promising that we could pick up some good rain accumulation on Sunday, and temperatures will continue to run likely above average for the foreseeable future. In fact, our 8 to 14 day temperature outlook shows likely warmer than average temperatures into the next 2 weeks. So temperatures will continue to run likely in those low to even mid 60s. So even with our drop in temperatures, we're talking 60s into early next week. High temperatures will rebound behind that front. So we're pushing 70 degrees once again by Tuesday. Again, if you have those outdoor weekend plans, Saturday definitely looks like the preferable day.
Welcome back. There are new developments in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Overnight, deputies detained a subject during a traffic stop outside Tucson. That person has now been released. It comes just hours after the FBI released video and images of a subject wanted for questioning. NBC's Liz Krutz has more.
Just hours after these chilling images were released by the FBI, obtained from a Nest camera of an armed person wearing a mask and gloves outside Nancy Guthrie's home, last night officials detaining a man in connection with the case, but then releasing him, according to the New York Times. Pima County Sheriff's Office saying they questioned someone after a traffic stop and searched a house in nearby Rio Rico. This man, Carlos Palazuelos, saying he was stopped while working his delivery job.
They put me in the cop car. You gotta wait.
And then let go hours later.
I hope they get the suspect, because I'm not it.
Saying in another interview that it's possible he delivered packages to Nancy Guthrie's address, but he didn't know her. The sheriff's office not commenting, saying only that investigators completed their search of a property and the investigation is ongoing. The agonizing search entering its 11th day, with officials now hoping for leads from that newly released footage, which shows the subject tampering with Nancy's doorbell camera, at one point covering it with plants from her yard. Savannah reposting the video on Instagram, writing, "Someone out there recognizes this person. We believe she is still out there. Bring her home." Well, none of the images clearly show the person's face. In some, you can see what appears to be facial hair around the person's mouth, and in these, distinctively shaped eyebrows showing through the eye holes of the mask. A handgun can be seen here in a waist holster. The person also wearing gloves and carrying a backpack. Until now, investigators had not been able to retrieve any footage from Nancy's home.
Between the data getting to the server and the camera, there's stops in between, and there's going to be pieces of that data possibly that could be recovered.
FBI Director Kash Patel saying last night the agency had to work with private companies to get the footage.
We were able to execute lawful searches and go to these private sector companies and expedite results, and then go into their systems and actually excavate material that people would think would normally be deleted and no one would look for.
Patel also saying authorities were looking at persons of interest in the Tucson area.
And I do believe we are looking at people who, as we say, are persons of interest.
Well, less than 24 hours after closing the airspace around El Paso International Airport, the Federal Aviation Administration abruptly reopened it, allowing flights to resume as normal. This is video from inside the airport before the announcement, showing us just how much traffic slowed down due to the closure. The FAA originally said flights were grounded because of special security reasons. A Trump administration official has since said Mexican drug cartel drones breached U.S. airspace, and those have now been disabled. The official also shared that there is no longer a threat to commercial travel. Now to a live look at the White House, where President Donald Trump is meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu right now. They're discussing Iran's nuclear program. Trump said he believes Iran is ready to make a deal, but Netanyahu is pushing to continue the talks for now. Regular health screenings can catch problems early, often before you notice symptoms. But doctors say what you do between visits matters too. Mandy Gaither explains why self-checks are critical and what you should be on the lookout for.
From mammograms to colonoscopies, cholesterol and blood pressure checks, health screenings and regular checkups can help save your life. But at home, so can you.
I think of it like a check engine light. You know, your body is really good at sending you signs and symptoms to let you know that something is going on.
Dr. John Hanachek with Cleveland Clinic says you know your body best, and in between annual exams, if you notice something that feels or looks different, call your doctor.
It is always better to find something earlier than later.
Hanachek says to watch out for moles that are changing, itching, or bleeding, unexplained shifts in weight, aches and pains that don't go away, or changes in bowel or bladder habits.
If you are going to the bathroom more often, or if there's blood in the toilet that doesn't have an explanation, those are for sure signs that you'd want to follow up on.
Check for hard lumps, especially on the breasts, neck, under the armpits, and other private areas.
Look for those changes. Look for things that are different than what you are accustomed to for your own body.
Hanachek says these self-checks should be done every month, but he cautions not to use them as a replacement for annual health screenings.
Self-checks are then an additional check on top of what you've already been doing as recommended by your physician.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A setback on Tuesday for drug maker Moderna and its effort to develop a flu vaccine using mRNA technology. The FDA has refused to accept Moderna's application to review its proposed clinical trial. The agency said the application did not contain an adequate and well-controlled trial, but Moderna called the FDA's decision stunning because the agency had not previously said the trial was inadequate. Company leaders have requested a meeting with FDA officials to understand how to proceed. We'll be right back. Families love celebrating a baby's first words and those first steps. And while little ones are growing and learning, 11Alive's Joe Ripley shows us how one Georgia organization is helping parents build strong bonds early on through books.
You see a blue horse. See the horse?
It's early in baby Ronan's first chapter of life, surrounded by family and love as his story's just beginning.
It's all about that attachment. It's all about early relational health. It's about helping parents understand the value of helping their children feel secure.
Carolina Klinker is the program director of Reach Out and Read Georgia, which partners with pediatricians, libraries, and departments of public health to give books and guidance to parents of kids ages birth to 5.
The providers use the book as a developmental assessment tool, a way to connect with the parents and a way to engage and model behavior so that parents learn how to connect with their kids with books at an early age.
Klinker says 80% of brain development happens before age 3, 90% by age 5.
If they're not reading on grade level by 3rd grade, that sets them back for years.
Marcia Divac plays a vital role in this story as well as Youth and Family Services Coordinator at Fulton County Libraries. She says COVID closed the book on the Books for Babies program.
But over the past few years, we've seen increasing numbers. People are coming back. They're participating more in our programming.
Now, Books for Babies is back on. Reach Out and Read has done checkups for more than 2,300 families in Fulton County. A story Carolina Klinker says could lead to a promising ending.
The value of that connection impacts a child's behavior, impacts the parent's stress. We know that reading reduces the stress in families overall.
Joe Ripley, 11Alive News.
Reach Out and Read is currently in 84 counties across Georgia. It gives out nearly 400,000 books a year. We'll be right back.